You mentioned the Tikkun Olam crowd who thinks that by honoring Linda Sarsour, what's your point?
My point is that 150 Jewish leaders came to her defense under the pretense that they have something to share with her, which is more important than her xenophobic hate for Israel. And this is not a good example for our young children. These leaders are competing for a seat on her bandwagon. They will get a small seat on her bandwagon, but zero seat in history, because they have nothing to offer to our children but a seat with Linda Sarsour. You know what Linda Sarsour said? That you can't be a Zionist and a feminist at the same time. And they forgave that. That was nothing important for that. It was secondary. What was the primary? A bandwagon. The fact that she was marching there with the women march. You know?
Do you feel there's a lot of peer pressure on the campuses for people, even Israeli studies, Middle East studies, to go along with this?
What peer pressure? What peer pressure? What are you referring to?
Well, that if the faculty, the rest of the faculty, you know, they're in social...
Which faculty are you talking about? Where?
Well, if we use UCLA as an example...
Well, everybody's afraid and everybody's quiet. It's good. And the BDS is weak and student body is strong. So everybody's happy. But when you come to weaker universities, like Santa Barbara, like we heard now in McGill, okay, then faculty silence is dangerous.
How about groups like Scholars for Peace in the Middle East, who have members from other faculties other than Middle East studies?
They're doing a good job. They're providing information, a global panoramic view of what's going on in the nation.
Yes.
Yeah, but they have very little resonance on the ground among faculty. Very little. I mean, very few of my faculty will say with pride, I'm a member of the Scholar for Peace in the Middle East.
Really?
Because, you know why?
Why?
Because the leftists who control the campus atmosphere have labeled them right-wingers.
And does it affect their professional status?
It affects their social acceptance status, which is higher pressure than the professional one.
So, could it be professionally ostracized?
I'm talking about socially ostracized.
Socially ostracized, yeah.
Professionally, you can handle that. That, you know, social desolation is very detrimental in academia. You depend on your colleagues for everyday affairs, membership in committees and tenures, and most of it just feeling good. People come to university to feel good, and if they are pro-Israel, they just don't feel good. Okay?
Yeah.
And that is bad. This is where BDS won, came out victorious.
You had made one point that I thought was controversial.
Yes, I remember when I said that
Mutually indigenous, two states.
I don't believe that this is controversial.
Okay.
Okay, because you have to start with the latter one. I said equally legitimate and equally indigenous, which means if the Palestinians recognize that Israelis are indigenous to the Middle East, to the land, peace will fall into place. But that's the last thing they will agree to. So it's safe for us to waive this requirement. Very safe. They will never comply with it. I know it. With all my experience with Muslims, they'll agree to everything except this one word, equally indigenous. And that's why I throw it out so liberally.
I see.
And I keep on saying you have to start with the end.
But aren't you acknowledging that they have some indigenous rights to sovereignty?
Sure, they are indigenous by physical presence, at least 100 or 150 years, okay? And that constitutes an element that contributes to being indigenous, okay? They forget that historical continuity and intellectual connection is more important. They forget it. They deny it. We know it's true. Therefore, we should insist on equally indigenous, despite the fact that some people are worried about it. They will listen to to your offer and they will accept it. They will never accept it. Never.
They'll accept their half of it.
You know what? If they do accept it, we have peace. So much better. It's worth it. Yes.